Hi, I'm Abraham. I'm your big brother in recovery, welcoming you back to another educational video, hopefully in the pursuit of attaining sustainable sobriety. My name is Abraham, as I said, and if this is your first time on the channel, please press the like button and subscribe. And by all means, please share this video with your friends because we believe that the message of recovery is one word: hope. But what is that message? That message is simple. We do recover. I have recovered and I have been empowered to help others to achieve sustainable sobriety. You know, we all know what's going on in our world today, and I thank you for coming back. Obviously, these are treacherous times, but guess what? We still have to maintain what we've obtained, which is our sobriety or our pursuit of it. And I hope you have been enjoying your videos that you've been watching, your family. I hope you're staying safe and God is blessing both you and your family and you're being safe and protected. But yet and still, we must remain sane throughout these insane times. So I wanted to give you something real brief that I know and I pray that will add value to your pursuit of recovery. And I'm going to give you something, but I'd like to show you something first. If you would kindly go to your big book and get your big book out and go to Roman numeral page XXIX. XXIX, which is in the doctor's opinion. And once you're there, I like to look at the first paragraph. It's a continuation of the bottom paragraph on the page prior to, but it talks about a psychic change. We all know psychic doesn't mean a person that's reading tarot cards or read a fortune teller or reading your palm, but a psychic change is a whole nother mind change or another paradigm. In other words, you are going from insanity to sanity, but in order to replicate that psychic change, there must be a procedure or a process, and that process for us happens to be the 12 steps. I like to pick up at the first paragraph, which is a continuation from the bottom paragraph on the prior page. On the other hand, and strange as this may seem to those who do not understand, who are those who do not understand? It can either be a newcomer who is still trying to figure out how it works before finding out why it works. You know, there are a lot of people in the rooms who have memorized how it works, but they don't know why it works. And that's what we're reading about in the doctor's opinion, why it works. Notice where how it works is. How it works isn't until, I believe it is chapter 5. So you're already into how and you don't even know why. And the other person who doesn't know or seems strange is the person who has gotten clean but never got sober. Our book says a man who still thinks about using still has an alcoholic mind. We can do all sorts of things that people say that we shouldn't or couldn't do, but we have truly recovered. And I think that that is found on the bottom of page 100, the last paragraph on page 100, leading to the second paragraph or the first paragraph on page 101. And it tells us that the condition is that we must continue to stay in spiritual conditions, you know, keep our spiritual reservoir up. But getting back to the paragraph on Roman numeral XXIX, once a psychic change or mind change or your paradigm has changed, it has occurred, this very same person who seemed doomed, who had so many problems, he despaired of ever solving them, suddenly finds himself easily able to control his desire for alcohol. The only effort necessary being that required to follow A few simple rules. Now, if you've seen any videos that I've done, I did something about a few simple rules. And those few simple rules, just for clarification, because you know we don't give our opinion on this channel. We like to use the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous as our reference. I like to draw your attention to page 98 in the second paragraph. They'll tell you what those 3 simple rules are. Burn the idea into the conscious. Notice it didn't say subconscious, right? Because now my subconscious, prefix sub, underneath my conscious, has been erased or eliminated because I have removed the wreckage of my past. So now I'm 100% conscious. Remember step 11? Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact, not subconscious. I'm aware now. I have a lucid, I have clarity, I have recovered. When I got to step 9, because the first 9 steps help me recover, 10, 11, and 12 keep me recovered, right? Watch this. Of every man that he can get well regardless of anyone, page 98. The only condition is that he trusts God, clean house, and obviously help others. Now, I'll explain that to you. It's real simple. The first 3 steps help you to trust God. Step 4 through 11 help you clean house. Step 12 helps you help others, because when we help others, we help ourselves. That's why we have to do service work, because guess what? The program of recovery is hard. Notice what I said, it's hard. However, it should never be complicated. How do I know that? Simple program, complicated people. Bill said it on page 14. Let's look at what Bill said in his story. Bill said the first paragraph on page 14, simple, meaning the program, but not easy. A price had to be paid. It meant destruction of self-centeredness. So what's the opposite of self-centeredness? God-centered. So I have to go from being God to letting God be God. Meaning I must turn in all things to the Father of lights who presides over us all. Notice what Bill said. Next, these were revolutionary and drastic proposals, the one that Ebby brought to him from the Oxford group. But the moment I fully accepted them, notice what he said. The moment he accepted it, the effect was electric. There was a sense of victory followed by such a peace and serenity as I had ever known. There was an utter confidence. I felt lifted up as though the great clean wind of a mountaintop blew through and through. God comes to most men gradually, but his impact on me was sudden and profound. What caused the sudden and profound? The moment he accepted him. Because you know what? God is, he just is. Just like Einstein said with energy. He said, energy can't be created nor destroyed. It just is. Just like God, no beginning, no end. So the minute you accept it, the minute he starts to work. Now, I want to tell you what the topic of this video is. It's going to be a quick one, something for you to feast on. And we're going to entitle this 3 Simple Rules for Life. 3 Simple Rules for Life. And it was predicated on me reading this 3 Simple Rule thing in the big book. And I started thinking about it, and I came up with some things, and I'm going to show you some stuff in the big book. And I know you're going to enjoy it. So without further ado, let me present to you the first 3, and they're all Abrahamisms. Here's the first one. If you don't go after what you want, you'll never get it. I'll repeat that again. If you don't go after what you want, you'll never get it. You know, old Noah didn't wait for his ship to come in. He built one. You know, and that's what most people are doing, waiting for things to happen instead of making things happen. So that's where we got the first Abrahamism from. If you don't go after what you want, you'll never have it. Let's look at doctor's opinion. Let's go to Roman numeral XXV. Let's see some XXV, and we're going to go to the 3rd paragraph. XXV3. Let's look at what Bill did. Bill refused to quit, and he refused to give up. Never ever give up, right? Because the most common thing to do when you fall down is get up. Now notice something in the third paragraph of to whom it may concern in the doctor's opinion. Bill went to treatment 3 times before he got this. Watch this. And notice he never recovered until he got a sponsor. When Ebby came, that's when Bill recovered. In the course of his third treatment, Bill, he acquired certain ideas concerning the possible means of recovery. Now, we already know what those ideas were. Those ideas were found on page, I believe it was page 9. Let's take a look at those ideas. The ideas, as he said at the bottom of page 9, Ebby did no ranting. In a matter of fact way, he told how 2 men had appeared in court from the Oxford group, persuading the judge to suspend his commitment. They had told of a simple religious idea. 1, that's step 2. That was the simple religious idea, because Dr. Silkworth had already told Bill about step 1, but he didn't know the solution, and he didn't have the practical program of action. Notice what he said. Ebby recovered in 2 months. That was 2 months ago, and the result was self-evident. It worked, right? So those are the 2 ideas that Bill talked about in the doctor's opinion that he got. Notice what he says. As part of his rehabilitation, he commenced to present his conception to other alcoholics, impressing upon them that they must do likewise with still others. This has become the basis of a rapidly growing fellowship of these men and their families. This man, Bill W., and over 100 others, more than 100 men and women, appear to have recovered. Notice something. If you don't go after what you want, you'll never have it. Bill recovered. How do I know that? He said it, but also on page 17, it tells me again. It says, to back this story up, it says, we of Alcoholics Anonymous know thousands, not hundreds, thousands of men and women who were once just as hopeless as Bill. Nearly all have recovered. They've solved the drink problem. So, I like to go to page 58, and it will synthesize what I said. You will never have it if you don't go for it. Go to page 58. Let's look at a commonly quoted paragraph. Commonly quoted, right? Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. When should they give themselves to this simple program? Right now, right this minute. So, first rule in life is, if you don't go after what you want, you'll never have it. Now, if you look at the second paragraph on page 58, it says, our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we're like now. Here comes step 0. If you have decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any lengths to get it, then you're ready to take certain steps. Until then, there's no hope for your recovery, because the third tradition says the only requirement for membership is the desire to stop drinking. So here comes that goes the desire right there. Second rule in life. If you don't ask yourself the right questions, the answers will never come. See, I ask a lot of questions because all the answers are in the questions. That's why you have to ask yourself and the newcomer a bunch of questions and let them tell you what's going on. Go to page 45. Page 45. Here's a powerful question to bring up in a topic and discussion meeting. While they said, give me 3 topics. It's always the first 3 steps and something else, something else. But if you look at the first paragraph on page 45, lack of power, that was our dilemma or problem. So how can I be powerless with a higher power? Because step 1 tells me my problem. I need power. We had to find a power which we could live, and it had to be a power greater than ourselves. Obviously, here comes the question, but where and how were we to find this power? That's a powerful question. Our big book tells us that we were fooling ourselves, because deep down inside, was the fundamental idea of God. So that's where we find the power, in us, not outside of us. And the second question is, how do we find the power? Well, guess what? We work the steps, because step 1, 2, 3 help us get connected to the power. 4, 5, and 6 help us get right with us. 7, 8, 9 help us get right with other people. And step 10, 11, and 12 help us maintain what we obtain, which is harmony with God, ourselves, and others. It sounds like the golden rule if you think about it. Love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and do unto others as you would have others to do unto you. So therefore, the goal now is don't get hurt today and don't hurt nobody. Don't hurt God, don't hurt yourself, and don't hurt another human being, because hurt people hurt people. Now, I'd like to also draw your attention to another familiar piece on page 20. You remember, if you don't ask yourself the right questions, the answers you'll never know the right answer. In other words, if you don't ask yourself the right questions, the answer will always be no. First paragraph. You may already have asked yourself, why is it that all of us become so very ill from drinking? Doubtless you are curious to discover how and why. There you go. In the face of expert opinion to the contrary, we have recovered from a hopeless condition of mind and body. If you're an alcoholic who wants to get over it, you may already be asking, what do I have to do? What a powerful question. It is the purpose of this book to answer such questions specifically. We shall tell you what we have done before going into detailed discussions. It may be well to summarize some points as we see them. And then if you look at page 29, it clearly tells us, first paragraph, further on, clear-cut directions are given showing how we recovered, followed by 42 personal stories. So the big book is very clear on what it asks you to do. That's why they can say, rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. So the first question was, if you don't go after what you want, you'll never have it. The second question is, if you don't ask yourself the right questions, the answer will always be no. Here comes the third question. If you don't step forward, you will always be in the same place. You got to take a step forward. Now I'd like to draw your attention to page 59. Notice what it says. Here are the steps we took, which are suggested as a program of recovery. It didn't say here are the meetings we made. It didn't say here's the sponsor we took. It didn't say here's the fellowship we affiliated ourselves with. All those things are recovery tools, but guess what? Here are the steps we took. Now, if you go back to the doctor's opinion, and I believe it is Roman numeral page XXVII. XXVII. Let me get there right quick, because XXVII. Notice what it says in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth paragraph. Many years ago, one of the leading contributors to this book came under our care in this hospital, and while here acquired some ideas which he put into practical application at once. I talk about that at once because the big book talks about it. The big book, I know the saying is easy does it. Easy does it doesn't mean physically slow. It means take the confusion out of what you're doing. But Bill did this thing at once. So here's the question. How soon do you want to reconcile your relationship with God? Because recovery, the word recovery means to regain that which is lost. And what did I lose that I want to regain that's so valuable to me? I lost my relationship, because no relationship, no recovery. So I'd like to leave you with something on page 181. And it's not a sarcasm. It's going to sound like one, but I don't want it to come across as a sarcasm. But it simply says on the last paragraph, if you think you are an atheist, an agnostic, a skeptic, or have any other form of intellectual pride which keeps you from accepting what's in this book, I feel sorry for you. If you still think you are strong enough to beat the game alone, that's your affair. But if you really and truly want to quit drinking liquor for good and all, and sincerely feel that you must have some help, we know that we have an answer for you. It never fails. If you go about it one half the zeal you have been in the habit of showing when you were getting another drink, your Heavenly Father will never let you down. Wow, what a profound way to end a video. But I'm reminded of one more thing to give you on page 568, the third paragraph. We find that no one need have difficulty with the spirituality of the program. Willingness, honesty, and open-mindedness are the essentials of recovery. But these are indispensable. You can't separate them and you can't put them together. So, in closing, 3 questions in life, or the 3 simple rules in life, may I say. If you don't go after what you want, you'll never get it. Number 2, if you don't ask yourself the right questions, the answer will always be no. And finally, if you don't step forward, you'll always be in the same place. Look, this is your big brother Abraham telling you that you can recover. Thank you for listening. Share this video with your friends. Leave a comment. I'm listening to all the comments. I'm responding. I'm getting them from all over the world, and I'm truly humbled by it. Stay safe, social distance, and by all means, keep your mask on. Love you. Talk to you soon. Bye.